Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati. All together, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauranga Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Actually, before I get into my glorification of ADI-PURUSA Krishna and family, Ganesham Prabhu actually sent me something to read out here. For those who don't know, Ganesham is one of the leaders in our North Sydney temple and dynamic leader over there. So this is what he has written for, and he wanted me to read out to share here in this assembly. Dear ADI-PURUSA Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I very much wish to be there in Adelaide today. Due to pressing commitments in Sydney, I couldn't. So I'm sending this message through Mathura Manohar Prabhu. His Holiness Sivaram Swami Maharaj was once sharing that an ideal leader should be a good manager and an exemplary sadhaka. And it is so difficult to find leaders in spiritual societies having both the traits. We are very fortunate to have you possessing the qualities of both as a wonderful manager and an exemplary sadhaka. At an age when most would have sought their permanent retirement to holy dhams like Mayapur or Vrindavan, you took up the mammoth service of serving the Adelaide Yatra, the holy dham of Sri Sri Radha Shama Sundar. What we saw after your arrival was an incredible inspiration for the next generations. Being ably and resourcefully supported by His Grace Abhiram Nityananda Prabhu, during your tenure, the congregation grew by leaps and bounds. Opulence and service of their lordships increased, especially with the new deity department and temple hall. And the attendance for temple events like Sunday feasts and festivals went to the next higher level. You have demonstrated to us the kind of surrender and dedication the disciples of Srila Prabhupada had done since the mid-60s. You have indeed expanded the preaching mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You are a father figure not only to Adelaide Yatra, but also to the leaders in other yatras. You have always extended yourself with providing whatever help others sought from you. You have set some very high standards for the current and the future leaders in ISKCON. You are a tough act to follow. As Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj benevolently smile upon you, we humbly beg you to please bless us, that we follow in your footsteps and expand the preaching mission of Lord Gauranga in every nook and corner of not only Adelaide, but the entire South Australia. All glories to you, all glories to your incredible services to Sri Sri Radha Shama Sundar. Begging to remain your servant, Ganesham Govindadas. Now my turn. How long have I got?
Half an hour.
All right. First, I have to apologize because this event is actually taking place quite delayed. ADI-PURUSA Prabhu, he actually retired from services as the temple president more than a couple of months ago. And at the AGM, National AGM, which we held 3rd of May in Murbalamba, New Government, Abhiram Prabhu was there, so he and I started talking and said, we have to actually, and even with Sitaram Prabhu, we had a discussion, we thought we need to actually glorify him. But then Abhiram Prabhu said, is Abhiram here?
Yes,
Right.
Satan.
Ah, you didn't? So Abhiram Prabhu said, no, Adi-Purush Prabhu actually does not want any of these events. He said, just leave it be. I said, no, and Sitaram Prabhu agreed. It's only proper that we actually do something to recognize his contribution. So we then started looking at our diaries. 3 of us, we couldn't bring a date sooner than that 3rd of May, close to that date. So this was the earliest slot that we could get, and here we are. So I apologize if it's been a long gap from then till now. That's one thing. And for me to get here today, this morning, there was a bit of a drama. So after fixing the date, booked my air ticket and all that, and happily drove to the airport this morning, looked at the board, it said that flight to Adelaide cancelled. Hare Krishna. And what do I do? Right? Of all the many trips that I've made to Adelaide previously, this was one trip I really wanted to make. And Krishna tested me by cancelling the flight to get to Adelaide. Again, through Krishna and Guru's mercy, quickly I went to the airline help desk and I said, what can we do here? They said, we can't help you. Customer service. Jetstar. So then Virgin Australia came to the rescue. He quickly went online, there was another flight, booked it, and here I am. Now, before I start glorifying Adi-Purush Prabhu, I'm actually standing here in a very unique position. Why? Because I've got several exalted personalities here who I am indebted to in my own spiritual journey. Start with, I've got Aniruddha Prabhu, Achintya Rupa Mataji, because I'm based in Melbourne. And for many decades now, they have been guiding me, they're still guiding me. Sitaram Prabhu too, early years. And I'll tell you the story. Of course, Adi-Purush Prabhu, needless to mention. Satyananda Prabhu, I can't also leave him out, and I'll tell you the story of what I mean by that. July 2002, actually I'm from Malaysia, me and my family at that time when we just got into ISKCON in Malaysia and we said, all right, we need to move to Australia permanently. So we were asking devotees over there, if we want to land in Australia, which temple should we go to? Everybody over there said, Melbourne, Melbourne, Melbourne. And I had not set foot in Melbourne at that time. We're talking about 2002. So then, when I said to the devotees back in Malaysia, I don't know anyone in Melbourne, how do I make this arrangement? I wrote to even Aniruddha Prabhu and introduced myself. I'm not sure if he remembers that. Maybe you do. Anyway, so I just introduced, I didn't ask for anything more. But what happened was, Adi-Purush Prabhu, who was in Malaysia at that time, through his network with devotees in Malaysia, made arrangements for me to land in Melbourne and be taken care of. So, the first person who meets me in Melbourne drives up in a green BMW. Satyananda. And the first person who takes me to the Melbourne temple is Satyananda. Alright? So that was my first visit to Melbourne temple way back in 2002. And in fact, it was July 2002 that we finally packed up, landed in Melbourne. And from the time we landed in Melbourne, we were under the guidance of Aniruddha Prabhu and Achintya Rupa Mataji. I am truly blessed. It's been a wonderful journey. It still is a wonderful journey being based in Melbourne. But I'm also blessed that I got the privilege to get the association of Adi-Purush Prabhu and his family. Adi-Purush was based in Melbourne there at that time too when I landed. While Aniruddha Prabhu and Achintya Rupa, they were like guiding us from the temple perspective as a congregation family and engaging us in various services. ADI-PURUSA Prabhu and family became like our extended family in Melbourne. Because when I landed with my family, there was nobody else. We were just me, my wife, and 2 young kids. Okay. So they became our extended family, and it became, at least from my perspective, it became a very intimate relationship where I would we heard earlier about the Guru Tattva taste, the mood of service. Prabhu imbibed in me how we should actually serve Guru, how we should actually do service selflessly, and valuable lessons. While that intimate lessons came to me, the putting into practice the opportunity in Melbourne environment was provided by Aniruddha Prabhu and Achintya Prabhu. So it gave me the avenues to actually display what he was teaching me from behind the scenes, who ADI-PURUSA Prabhu. And so the relationship with ADI-PURUSA Prabhu and family is a multi-layered one, at least in my case. One, I see him as a father figure. Probably that's an offense to him because I'm not that much young compared to him. My father passed away, left his body when I was 11 years old. I grew up pretty much without having a father figure to actually learn from. But when I landed in Melbourne, he sort of filled that void to an extent in my family, guiding us in the journey of spiritual development. And it was at an intimate level, more like how a father who's like a Shiksha Guru normally is like teaching a son how to do things. Here he was giving us intimate knowledge. And at the same time, Lokanandari Mataji was also guiding my wife from behind the scenes in a very intimate way. So eventually we got the good fortune, again through temple management, through the guidance of this family, we got the mercy of taking initiation, and we were taken to the lotus feet of His Holiness Yapadatta Swami Maharaj. The journey from there became even more sweeter. And as it became sweeter, ADI-PURUSA Prabhu further imbibed from a very personal perspective as to how that sweetness should be not only tasted, but served. First serve Guru, that's his, and he is always there, he's like, always do something for Krishna. And as, I do not know what I did right or wrong, but more services, more responsibilities came to me in ISKCON from the early years of, I'm talking about early 2000s. Aniruddha Prabhu engaged me in more services. He sort of took me to higher levels of management. He brought me into Melbourne Temple management and then took me to national management as a national treasurer, guided me to be a member of the national executive. So while that was all happening, every step of the way, there was this family, ADI-PURUSA family, who were guiding us also. And that at the core of it all was keep that mood of service. Remember Srila Prabhupada's mood in mission. It's not about you, Mathura Manohar. It's about pleasing Guru and Krishna. Always do something to please Guru and Krishna. Selfless service. That was drilled into me. Strangely, in February 2007, he arranged for Shaligram Sheila to actually enter my life, where we did home worship. Mercifully, 3 months later, Achintya Rupa Mataji, being in charge of deity department in 2007, started and engaging me in Shaligram Puja on the altar in Melbourne Temple. A service which I'm still trying to do to this day. And for that, I must thank you. That's a service that is very dear to me and is very, very, it gives me sense for the stress that I go through. Every Saturday mornings when I'm on the altar doing that service, life becomes meaningful to me. So, as I said, I'm in a very unique position here today, not just glorifying one individual and his family, ADI-PURUSA KRSNA PRABHU. I've got personalities who are guiding me through my journey, my family's journey. Then, as I said, where he became like a father figure to me, there was a twist. The twist was where they made me a management committee member here in Adelaide. Where now, the father figure is also in the same committee, I'm there, and the so-called Shishya is now suddenly playing a role where I have to give instructions to him. I was scratching my head how to do that. But I remember many years ago when I had this conundrum in doing my national treasury service at the national level. I was serving many exalted personalities more senior than me. And I was feeling awkward in the early days. I went to my spiritual master and I said, look, I've got this situation where I'm just a young kid around the block and it's like, I'm serving all these exalted personalities, but I got to do certain things right here because National Treasury Service means certain things need to be corrected. How do I do this? I felt very uncomfortable within my heart. I couldn't reconcile it. A young junior, a young punk, so to speak, trying to give instructions to senior personalities. My guru gave a very simple one-sentence answer. In fact, it was a 3-word answer. Do your duty. Took it on, and I had to clash in that approach with certain senior personalities in doing my National Treasury service. Similarly, in the Adelaide Management Committee service, there were flashpoints where the Shishya is now suddenly making a stand with the Guru. Right? But we found a level. So there is another layer where, and here's the thing about ADI-PURUSA KRSNA. He obeys authority. He saw me there not as his Shishya or a student. He saw me there as a person who has been given this responsibility and a position where I had to do my duty. And he wore that hat accordingly, time, place, circumstances. When we sat around a meeting table, he knew that there was this position that he needed to respect and give obedience to. And at the same time, when the meeting ended, roles reversed. I ended up being the Shishya again to him. So, father figure, manager role, and a tough one sometimes where you've got to change hats. But the journey is sweet, has been sweet so far. Especially his spiritual guidance for me and my family. That's still continuing. His achievements, there are many. We heard a few devotees earlier talk about the house next door. So being the national treasurer, I had to work with him as to how to broker the finance deal and all that. We bought the house for 400,000? 420. That was about 13 years ago, I think. Guess today's value, how much is it?
It's next door.
Today's valuation, we did the valuation a few months ago, 1 million.
could sell it for more.
Yes. Okay. It's got development opportunity. Where's the new temple president? Right. So, and at that time it wasn't easy. We are talking about, so backtrack a little bit. I was in Melbourne, Prabhu was in Melbourne, and then time came where he took up that service to be the Adelaide Temple President. He and his family moved over here. And rough journey, early days for him were very rough. I remember him telling me he had to literally come here and throw out the garbage, literally. Okay? There were rooms full of garbage. Am I right?
Unfortunately.
Yes. At that age, he wasn't that much young at that time, 15 years ago. He had to do it. Rolled up his sleeves, threw out the garbage. And there was no money in the bank, right? But he was financially astute. Being a doctor, he took on work as a GP in a clinic somewhere. The money that he made there by working in that clinic, he put it into the temple. He didn't earn the money for himself. He sacrificed his time and energy. While being a temple president, he went to work in the evenings to the clinics, right? Came back with that money, and the money was put back into the temple to somehow get the temple finances going where these operations could be stabilized. And not only that, I remember he actually appealed to the national body when we had one of our AGMs where he said, look, Adelaide is in financial difficulties. He said, I'm not asking for free money, lend some money and I'll pay it back from Adelaide's coffers when the finances are stable. I can't remember, did he give you the money? Did you get it?
The first meeting, you were not there. The first meeting with ADI-PURUSA and PRABHU'S help, we got 120,000.
Right.
National.
So,
Not JP.
yeah, loan?
No, that was
Free money. Okay, right. So that assistance came. But then slowly but surely he started stabilizing the financial situation here while being the temple president, managing it astutely, where slowly the finances improved. And what Aniruddha Prabhu mentioned earlier, there was a $400,000 loan on not this building but the rest of the temple complex because of fire safety regulation requirements which had to be complied with. They came and said, you've got to do all this or we're shutting down. And about 400,000 loan had to be taken. He ended up being the temple president. That fell on his head. He took on that liability and worked many years with the team. Of course, the team came on board. And at that time, Abhiram Prabhu came on board as the treasurer. And I must say, he is truly capable in that area too. He gave very strong, good support to ADI-PURUSA Prabhu. And that started turning around. Not only that, then when we bought the house, we got more creative. While we took a loan from, so we have that first loan for that building, then we took another loan for the house. So there was like anxiety, how are you going to pay all this off? Then we got creative, we got the money from Westpac and then we got some internal refinancing done where we went to Pratapana Prabhu in Sydney, got that heavily discounted. We were paying $5,000 a month for many years. And we paid that off when, Abhiram Prabhu, just a few months ago? February. Okay. So today, Adelaide Temple is debt-free, no debt. Not only that, we are here sitting in this nice big hall, fundraising. So he led the fundraising, and we heard a little bit from Rasaraj Prabhu just now about him leading the fundraising, and then Abhiram Prabhu was the treasurer, ADI-PURUSA Prabhu was leading from the front, the fundraising project and all that. At that time, after clearing all the debt, Adelaide bank account had 400,000. And through the fundraising, another close to 1 million came in. Abhiram, is that right? Close to?
1.05.
Yeah. So that gave the confidence to actually start the project. And of course, we know Abhiram Prabhu took on that project management role. And he's done a wonderful job, as we can see here. Under the leadership of ADI-PURUSA KRSNA PRABHU. So, even today, this hall has been paid off, no loans pretty much. So, from the early days, 15 years ago, where ADI-PURUSA Prabhu came to actually literally throw out garbage, today he has handed over to Abhiram Prabhu a debt-free temple with money in the bank, with a wonderful infrastructure hall like this. It's been a tough journey, but as we heard earlier, his strong desire, he has often told me, always do something to please Krishna. And that runs very deep in his heart, as we can see the tough journey that he has gone through to actually make this all manifest. So today, it is not about thanking ADI-PURUSA Krishna for what he has achieved for this temple. While his management leadership chapter has closed as the temple president, today I think it's an opportunity for us to start acknowledging that it's the beginning of we recognizing him as a Vaishnava in the community. As we say, as Aniruddha Prabhu said earlier, we're growing old, and as we grow old, appropriate services need to be taken up. So, management services has closed for him. But not that he was only a Vaishnava today, no. It's always been there. But it's that Vaishnava quality display opportunity now becomes even more in the forefront. Adelaide community can see him in two ways. One, as an ex-temple president and recognize him for his past achievements. Or two, recognize him for the Vaishnava that he is and take advantage of his Vaishnava qualities for us to develop in our own journey into the future. Right? So, I'm indebted to him. My family is indebted to him. And when I say indebted to him, we are indebted to him and his family. They have got a connection with Guru, which is very, very special, which they don't talk about. But I get to hear it from them from very intimate sources. Satananda Prabhu, ADI-PURUSA Prabhu, they've got very, very close relationship with His Holiness Jayapataka Goswami Maharaj. Now it's very hard to actually get Maharaj's association. He's got, from what I heard, he's got more than 100,000 disciples now. Right? Not that numbers matter, but that's his mercy, his mood. And it's hard for disciples to get close to Guru. But we get news about the intimate happenings in Guru's life through Satananda Prabhu, through ADI-PURUSA Prabhu. They've got a special sweet ras, a relationship with Guru where many of us can only dream or aspire to. Preeti too, forgetting her. The whole family. I mean, where can we get Guru who is overseas and then telling his disciple here, Satananda Prabhu, I'm going to America on preaching mission, I want to see you there. It's a personal invitation from Guru. For that kind of invitation to come from Guru means there is a very sweet, special relationship. That doesn't come with all of us. We don't get that kind of opportunity. So, I don't know if you all see it, but I see them as very special family. 4 generations of devotees, yes. But more than that, it's about the sambandha with Guru. And the lessons that I get from there, to me, is life enriching. Very, very life enriching, and it's a treasure that I will always, always carry with me for the rest of my life. And I can only pray that they can continue to share these nuggets of treasures with all of you here in this Adelaide community. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was very heartfelt glorification. Now, the most important part of the event today, of the program, I finally call upon His Grace ADI-PURUSA Prabhu to come forward. Before he comes, I'll just make a quick.
Do you want to speak then after she and then me?
So, I call upon Her Grace Lokanath Mataji. Quick introduction. Senior disciple of His Holiness ADI-PURUSA Swami Maharaj. Joined ISKCON in 1986 and initiated in 1990. Mataji is a doctor by profession and has served several sannyasis as a personal doctor. And along with Prabhu, she's also served the ISKCON Malaysia for very, very many years. So please welcome Her Grace Lokanath Mataji.
For the last 10 years, but today I felt like saying some things. So please don't get bored with me. I am speaking to share some reflections and humble requests regarding the temple's journey over the years. I still remember vividly when we first arrived at the temple. It was overgrown like a jungle with tall grass surrounding the area. Part of the front fence had been torn down and discarded, and offerings to the deities were limited at times to even canned beans. It was a period of great struggle. We were both having comfortable jobs in Melbourne, but were happy to make the move to Adelaide, considering it our calling. We took up jobs after hours and dedicated our days of serving at the temple. Prabhu dug in straight away and dedicated himself wholeheartedly to the responsibilities entrusted to him. He was consistently striving to go above and beyond expectations, which contributed to the growth and success of the temple. A substantial amount of our incomes were donated to the temple to help settle the temple's debts and supporting its development. Our joint efforts continued for 15 years. However, I must express my disappointment regarding the lack of recognition of his contributions during his tenure here. We have always valued teamwork and humility, but during the 25th anniversary celebration of the temple property, Prabhu was not given an opportunity to speak, and no acknowledgement was made of his early years of hardship and service. All past major improvements and grand festivals were once recorded on the temple's website. Later, when the process of developing the site was undertaken by Abhiram Prabhu, all previous records documenting those years of effort were permanently deleted. It is also worth noting that Prabhu trained Abhiram Prabhu sincerely and handed over responsibilities with full trust. While it is commendable that the construction of the new temple hall was taken by Abhiram Prabhu, and we sincerely appreciate his dedication, The situation was becoming increasingly difficult for Prabhu to continue sharing his knowledge and service. We understand that new systems are in place, but we kindly request that Abhiram Prabhu consider allotting Prabhu more preaching opportunities, particularly on weekends and during festival programs. A lot of devotees have approached us requesting this. Throughout our tenure, we were subjected to constant taunts and false allegations. Though Prabhu was able to handle them, it was difficult for me to handle the slander and smear campaigns. We wish Abhiram Prabhu and the temple all success in its future growth. May the temple flourish and continue to serve the community, and the devotees worship the deities with devotion and grace. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Finally, I call upon His Grace ADI-PURUSA KRSNA PRABHU, former temple president, co-TP since 2010, serving in that capacity for 15 years. His Grace ADI-PURUSA Prabhu, also known as Dr. Ramakrishnan in the outside world, is a retired family physician, has been with ISKCON for the last 37 years. He was given spiritual initiation by His Holiness Japatka Swami Maharaj in 1990. Prabhu has served in ISKCON Malaysia for a long time, helped to build a temple in one of the major cities in the country. He then moved to Australia and then served at ISKCON Melbourne for almost 10 years, after which he relocated to manage ISKCON Adelaide, as we heard before. During his tenures at TP and co-TP of Adelaide, amongst many other services, he oversaw the temple preaching activities and rebuilding the congregation, and was instrumental in construction of the temple, where we stand here today. Please welcome His Grace ADI-PURUSA Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Relax, everybody. Let's have some fun. Actually, when they told me about this travel appreciation gathering, I said, why waste time? I'd rather give a Bhagavatam class or a Bhagavad Gita class. But they insisted, and agreed. So, a few days ago, I went for a haircut for the occasion. And the lady barber, I was a lady barber. One more letter, lady barber. So, and she told me that, what are you doing? I said, I'm a retired doctor. I said, you're too young, oh, you're too young, she's an Asian. So, if I'm young for the karmic world, I should be young for the spiritual world or the spiritual society. So jokes aside, there were so many compliments going on, and some of the things the young people may be thinking, then if everything is going so nicely, why the farewell? Isn't it? Yes. So some things have to be said, recorded for you, for your future. The nuances of practicing Krishna consciousness in our society. So, the good thing is, when I look at the past, my predecessors, they were all unceremoniously discharged. At least I'm so lucky. Garlanded smiles, everybody's happy, I'm going away. So, and even the Prabhu himself was there involved in the previous management, where the police he didn't summon the police, somebody else summoned the police, and the management has to be escorted away from the country. Anyway, this is the difficulty in management. So, as Vaishnavas, we thought to be humble. We have to think ourselves lower than this grass in the street or straw in the street. But sometimes, my teacher told me, my teacher, sometimes it is called, you have to blow your own trumpet. In Adelaide, somebody has taken away the trumpet, even if you want to blow. Trumpet is gone. But look, there were a lot of glorification. It's not that way. But some highlights in my career, I would like to inform for the future, again for the future. Like what Lokanandani said, I was very disappointed. We had the 26th anniversary celebrations 2 weeks ago. So many people spoke, and I've been almost 15 to 16 years as the president. And it was the purchase of ISKCON Adelaide, 25th anniversary of the purchase of ISKCON Adelaide. And my first impression about the thing was, there was a lot of bad news. Everybody's giving bad news. And then, secondly, they were talking about making millions of dollars. We collected millions of dollars. Hari Baba, where is the millions of dollars? And they said they bought this building at a discounted rate of $200,000. When I came here, the mortgage was, the servicing of the mortgage was not done. And it was standing at $350,000. Plus what Prabhu said, the fireproofing was another $400,000. So it's $750,000. So, and whatever anybody is saying, and I was thinking why I'm not given a chance to say anything. So just a small disappointment there. When we first landed here, I'll make it brief, only the salient points. 3 sannyasis, and some senior devotees told me, don't go to Adelaide. I can name them. In fact, one sannyasi told me, Adelaide Hills full of fossils. Those fossils, they somehow or other corrupt the minds of everybody. So, it is not that when I decided to come, that, the famous saying, fools rush in, where angels fear to tread. It is not one of those things. It is not the foolish you, in spite of all that. I will wait. They say wait. I am sure everybody can feel it. So it is not fools rush in where angels fear to tread. I knew what I was getting into. I know it was difficult. And, but I always like challenges. Whenever there are challenges, that makes, you're a soldier of Krishna, you're a soldier of Prabhupada. You're not doing it for your own good, for your own personal satisfaction. So, and my Guru Maharaj used to say, like because I've been a temple president in Malaysia. So he says that it's a thankless job. Prabhu will understand that. No matter your job is to please everybody. Is it possible to please everybody? No, it is impossible. But knowing fully well that you'll be criticized heavily and all that, you still take up the job. Why? To please Prabhupada and to please Krishna. It is not to come and enjoy the position. It's not like that. Anyway, moving on. When I landed, of course, you all said that the temple was bankrupt, drowning in debts, morale was very low, and many people were circling around. I wrote here vultures, but I wouldn't say that. Prabhu might not know. So many people were trying to take over management, but they are not qualified. And anyway, so I called up for a meeting. Immediately I called up for a meeting. And the first thing they told me was to vamoose as quickly as I had come. Just get out, That was my first meeting. So I was like literally in hostile territories, Wild West. We had the meeting upstairs. Now, those who helped me in the beginning, I must say that is one of the reasons. Rob and Baljit Prabhu, they both helped me physically and financially. So that must be mentioned. The others who helped me, of course, Lohitaksha Prabhu was very, very helpful. Then, Vijay Gopikesh Prabhu, Dasara Prabhu, Clive and all that, to a lesser extent. Aniruddha Prabhu helped me in the national level to fight for the $120,000 and Prabhu's Prabhu. And with that was our starting. And then we went to the national level, we got 120,000 and all that, and then we made our way. Slowly we plowed our way back. Every time I started the operations, every time I tried to build a team, each time I built a team, it only boomerang upon me. Somewhere or other they will find some fault with me. And so it was very, very frustrating. Each time we try to do it, no matter how hard you try, every time you build a team, and there'll be a problem. So a leader is expected to demonstrate a strong, in ISKCON at least, strong foundation in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, be scrupulous and at the same time be humble and enthusiastic. You have to also carry out ISKCON policies, you know. So sometimes we make decisions, but the congregation doesn't agree with you, and we still have to plod on. So management difficulties in Krishna consciousness. We have to listen to the top and we have to listen to the bottom also. You know, they gave us some ideas. Like this building, one of the persons responsible is when Ramai Swami said that do the temple extension. You know, during the, I don't know whether Aniruddha Prabhu remembers, during the fire proofing, that time itself we had a discussion with that man, I can't remember his name. We talked about extension. We talked about extension there. We had a discussion there with that guy. Anyway, so but over the years we just let it go. But Maharaj was insistent, you know, that you should do this thing, and then we got on it. So as ISKCON Adelaide was in the doldrums when I came here, we had to devise various ways to overcome this problem. So sometimes we break orthodoxy. We don't follow the normal rules sometimes. You know, we call lateral thinking. When we do that, people get upset. Oh, what are you doing? What? I don't give you examples, but I'm just saying. But we had to do all that. And what do you call, this is often misunderstood by others. I want to assure you that I've always acted in the best interest of Adelaide. Always, ISKCON Adelaide first, you know. And as any place else, if the leader loses bilateral support, bilateral means support from top and support from the bottom, then in my opinion, he loses the morality to continue as a leader. So during my tenure, I had received maximum number of complaints. I probably is the #1 recipient of complaint that is in Australia. So we also did a #1. This goes to show either that I was a terrible manager or you all are good letter writers. And reminded me of an old, you know, this Looney Tunes cartoon, I think most of you won't know. Beep, beep, you know, beep, beep is a road runner character. Beep, 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 beep. And there's coyote, the jackal, will try to trap this beep, beep, the road runner. You don't know that? No, I don't know. So each time he tries to trap, beep, beep, the road runner will escape. So like that for the last 15 years, so many traps, and I was escaping. But finally, in the last 1 year ago, there was a 14-page anonymous letter, just heavy letter, that was listing all the atrocities I've been doing. And that prompted me to step down. Actually, His Holiness Ramai Swami had warned me he said that they will come after you first, and then they will come after your wife. And then your wife will advise, for the sake of sanity, let it go. So all these and even more actually happened. And that is the truth. So the highlights was, of course, so many things have been mentioned. We had the first fundraising, 200,000, second fundraising, another 200,000. And then we brought WOMAD back to Adelaide. That was a very difficult thing to do. WOMAD was being organized by Moor Vilamba, Ajita Prabhu. And Ajita Prabhu is not easy to deal with. It's extremely difficult, not as a person. Money, business is, every cent is important for you. It's very difficult to negotiate. But it was tough, but we managed, and that is actually a feather in the cap for ISKCON Adelaide. In view of the constant attack on my leadership, as well as advancing age and health, I decided it was time to draw the curtain down. As I felt it was the right time to step down, as the temple was in good shape, I handed my voluntary retirement letter to the GBCs, seeking their permission, after which my retirement was accepted. Management succession is like a relay race. When you run, you pass the baton, as they say, baton, and then you take it. When I came here, nobody gave me a baton. They threw me in the deep end of the pool and I had to swim out of it. But Abhiram Prabhu is most lucky, not only passing the baton to him, the whole temple is handed over to him on a golden platter. Like Prabhu said, there is no debts, nothing. And you know, like when we came, even they were stealing from the Undial, and of course that still goes on, but we had to, from everything, there was, okay, that's not good. Normally, I would discuss very important spiritual matters, like what Prabhu says, we have a link of relationship with Guru Maharaj. We will discuss the important spiritual matters like this to step down as the temple president. I did not do so this time. You know why? Because I was afraid he will say, don't step down and continue. And that is not right, but I had to do it because I didn't want this transition process to have any difficulties. And my understanding is, Ramesh Maharaj told me, unless I step down, it is difficult to appoint a new person. So that was what I was told. So I have been magnanimous in stepping down. The congregation always thought that I was holding on to power until kingdom come. This is far from the truth. When the first major crisis hit in 2017, I opted to let go. I told Mathura Manohar many times, I'm ready to go. But I was advised not to leave. So this was those who think that I am just holding on to position. The second time was after a successful fundraising for temple extension. On the 6th of July 2021, I sent my official resignation, not to the national body, but to His Holiness Ramesh Swami and Holiness Devamurthy Swami. Very seriously saying that that's it, you know, I've done my job, I have to go. Now that the money is there, and everything is nice in the temple. And both of them immediately got back to me saying to retract my resignation. And then finally, of course, in April 2025, that's when I gave my official one. It's not resignation, which I would really like to hear, but it's voluntary retirement. That's what I was told to, right? I listened to authority, told me to voluntary retirement. Now, my concern, ISKCON temple is an institution of learning to distribute Krishna consciousness and Vaishnava culture. We have to be wary about Hinduization of ISKCON. This is a worldwide phenomenon. It's okay to make guests feel welcome by making the temple attractive, but not overtly friendly so much so that the purpose is attaining institution is compromised. Being a teaching institution, emphasis must be placed on learning of Shastras, the syllabus, curriculum, etc. As otherwise the temple will become a fun station for socializing, musical entertainment, Hare Krishna, Hare. Because they're changing the tunes now for everybody's enjoyment. Food fair and gossip. Everybody's checking the food and how's this, how's this. We have to educate our visitors on our organizational setup, temple rules, Vaishnava etiquette, Pancharatana system of worship, and coax them to practice the same. Finally, I'm not expecting any recognition for services rendered, as it was an honor to have served Srila Prabhupada's movement. Recently, someone asked me, if you could go back in time, how differently would you have acted? I said the same way. Why? I do not want to be an apologist for non-performance. If I listen to others, we will not be here. So no regrets. Many times, even buying that house and all that, I don't, because they always discourage. So what I do, I discuss with Ramesh Swami, and then we say what to do, what has to be done, and then with the financial, with the Mathuramal Group, and then only I'll call for a meeting. Everything. In fact, I signed for the agreement. I already signed, and the congregation did not know, because the congregation. So I buy it, sign it, and then I'll call for a meeting. What do you all think? It is coming up, and then half the people will say yes, half the people will say no. And one fellow will remember, it's Abhishek. Is it Abhishek Kaushal? Abhishek is, that time he was in real estate. And he said, no, you don't waste time, you have to, but okay, I will take Prabhu, you are saying. He doesn't know that. Now I'm saying, oh, that I have to do all that to do the right thing. You know, like I said earlier, lateral thinking, you're for not following orthodoxy, and so all this happened. Now the passion has always been to preach Krishna consciousness, the glories of Krishna. I love to talk about Krishna. Not that I'm a great preacher, but I just love to do that. And disseminate the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. See, Prabhupada's teachings is different. That is unique, and that's amazing. You have to understand, it's not just Bhagavad Gita, it's not just Krishna. It's Prabhupada's teachings, the way he takes us. And so I'll be most grateful if I'm given more preaching. Some preaching assignments for which Brahmananda Prabhu seems to have difficulties with. So finally, my heartfelt thanks to Sri Radhashyam Sundar, Sri Prabhupada, GBC, NEC, and all other eminent Vaishnavas for having given me an opportunity to serve ISKCON. I'm not going anywhere, I'm here. Many people say, wish you would have, but no, I'm here. I am doing regularly home programs, not Srimad Bhagavatam, but Bhagavad Gita. You said Srimad Bhagavatam. It is canto by canto, chapter by chapter, 18 chapters, PowerPoint presentations, and that is the latest that I'm doing. I want more young people, those who want to be trained and then preach the philosophy according to it. Thank you very much. We had a long journey, wonderful journey. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. His Grace ADI-PURUSA Prabhu ki Jai. His Grace Lokal Mataji ki Jai. I call upon Abhiram Prabhu to honor ADI-PURUSA Prabhu and Mataji with a memento of appreciation. We now conclude the Thanksgiving service honoring His Grace ADI-PURUSA KRSNA PRABHU and Her Grace Lokani Mataji and family. Finally, events like this require a great deal of preparation and dedication. A small but incredibly hardworking team of volunteers made this celebration possible. I would like to sincerely thank the following groups: the Pujari department, the garland team, cooking and vegetable cutting team, cleaning and gardening team, the prasadam serving team, the crowd control team, the welcome team, the photography team, the IT team, the pot washing and purchasing team, and the gift team. Without your collective efforts, we could not run this festival successfully. Finally, a heartfelt thank you to our eternal feast sponsor, Ashok Kumar Jairaj. Your support made today's prasadam possible. Thank you all once again, and we'll have Arati start very soon, and after Arati, prasadam will be served. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama, Hare Rama. Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
Jaya Ashtotam Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jaya Vishnu Bhara Paramahamsa Parivar Jaya Ashtotam Shishimad Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Ramsika Hoji Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhana Ki Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Sri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Sri Purusha Krsna Ki Sri Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Sri Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Maharani Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Oh, glories to the Sankirtan. Oh, glories to the Sankirtan. Oh, glories to the Sankirtan. Oh, glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Oh, glories to Sri Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladika Jai.
Hare Krishna everyone, can you please come forward? The Satari Lordship's feet will be on your place on your head. Oh, it's supposed to stop. Up and up. Okay.
Krishna.